All right, so we are recording. Thank you, Matt. Quick history on Deck the Chairs. Well, love hands from people. Everyone, I'm guessing, has seen it, experienced it. Is there anyone that hasn't? Primrose, never. Well, then we do have some newbies. Anyone online that has never seen Deck the Chairs? You can speak right now, and I'll try to cover this as best I can. This is our 11th season. We're a nonprofit. It was founded originally for 3 reasons: to serve the beaches and provide this like holiday experience, which at the time there had never been anything for Jack's Beach. I've lived here 35 years, and nothing during the holiday season really ever happening, right? And we attest to that. Yeah, it's yeah, so much. I grew up in St. Augustine, and much like what happened in St. Augustine with the Night of Lights, I found it intriguing as a small business owner that we couldn't do anything in the season, in the winter months. And so this idea kind of was a convoluted way to bring something to Jack's Beach. I am a designer, and I've participated in what was called, you remember there's a Otis Smith Foundation painting the manatees and the sea turtles, and that's those sort of things. We put them all around the city. It was a sculptural kind of exhibit and really wonderful. And it was a great fundraiser for Otis Smith. Took that concept, built it around the lifeguard chairs, which are, very much a thank you. They're iconic. And so we could celebrate a tradition here at the beach, celebrate the beach's community, put people in that park space, and most importantly, get people fired up about doing arts and creative work, design, build things, make things, put them in public space. So that all happened. And 11 years later, we're working on our biggest exhibit ever, and we're going to be in downtown as well. So we're, again, a 501c3. We are now solely focused on children's arts and arts education. So our goal is not only to put on a great exhibit for 6 weeks, keep it free, keep it family friendly. You won't see alcohol served at Deck the Chairs. It's a really interesting kind of path to providing this kind of an event, this large of an event, without the component that a lot of people expect to see in big scale events. We've stayed away from it. The city loves the fact that we're not one of those festivals. And we've been able to, I think, grow the event and its love based on family friendly. We started with 18 chairs the very first year, and we are, with the student exhibit combined in Jack's Beach now, there's over 50 chairs. So 10 of those go to the students, and about 40 are used in the space, 30 of which are decorated by businesses and nonprofits. And then we use the rest for signage. We use it for entry points. So 40 chairs are used in that space. This year in Jacksonville downtown, we'll have just 10 chairs for the students. So we have, and those chairs are what we call, our chairs are smaller. They're 6 feet tall. They're built so that students can work with them, and we can ship them easily, transport them, leave them. You can't take a 9-foot chair and put it across town and let someone work on it. So we redesigned the chair. It looks a little bit like a lifeguard chair, but more or less it's our own design. Kind of has a fun structure to it. So we're going to have 20 of those total this year, 10 in Jack's Beach and 10 downtown. And that's generally it. I'm looking online real quick just to see if I've got some other questions. So from Sherry, you've never seen the smaller chairs, Sherry? Maybe.
Neither one, other than when I saw it in the newspaper once.
Oh, okay.
But I've never gone.
Brand new to this as well. That's awesome.
Yes.
Trust us, don't you?
I do. Because everybody was like, how could you not? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, appreciate the trust. It's got a huge following now. And again, we don't have turnstiles, so we don't know exact numbers coming into the beach area and coming into the space. But, having run it for 11 seasons, I'm there almost every day practically. And so is Kathy. And what I typically do from the 3:30 start time, which is when we're, handling concessions and getting it ready, to about 10:30 at night when everything is shut down, packed away, and we go home. I just try to do what are manual head counts. So I typically know the Deck the Chairs has people showing up for about an hour and a half. That's how this works. It's not 2 hours, 3 hours at Deck the Chairs. Some families do that, but a lot of them just show up, walk the space, get a hot cocoa, let the kids play in the park space, and then by an hour and a half time, they're heading out. And which is awesome because we're rotating people through the parking lots and managing, large crowds because it's timed out over 5-6 hours. So I try to do rough head counts, and usually I know what 200 looks like in one side of the park. I know what like 300 to 400, 500 looks like in one side of the park. And we also have concessions that helps us a great deal. And so we track our concessions. And generally, the early days of Deck the Chairs, the first couple years, we might have 30,000 through the whole run of show, 6 weeks, 40,000. And that, that's reasonable. But we started adding programming. And once we started adding the programming, and then once people were finding out about it, and there was concessions and everything was building, with concessions especially, we could see our concessions 15%, 20% up each year. And, we're ordering product now that like toys and stuff that the kids just love. And we've gone from 2 years ago, maybe 2 cases of these little whistle copters to like 8 cases, so it's growing exponentially. We think it's easy enough to say 100,000 people are in that park over 6 weeks. We don't really count the drive-bys, but there's a lot of folks that just drive by the park and see the lights and the space. They stay on till 1 a.m. So we're out of the park at 10:30, and I've gone back to the park to fix things or to look at things at 1 a.m, and there's still people in that park. So, do you?
Yeah.
How many times do you visit Deck the Chairs? If it's in a season. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great baby.
Yeah. Yeah. The drive-by experience would be interesting to know. Because we also cater to, and I love the park because it's so accessible. It's handicap accessible. Seniors get around easily at the park. So we'll have busloads from these different assisted living communities come in and drop their seniors off, and they walk the park, and an hour and a half later, they're out of there. And that happens a lot. School programs, get out to Deck the Chairs. Cub Scouts get out to Deck the Chairs. So it's constant and it's growing. So your partnership, one, helps us we fund a lot of what we do in that park with your money. It's at the end of the day, if it's not going into build or programming, or helping us with concessions, then it's going to be, we'll put dollars towards at the end of the year towards school programs. And we are now researching, we haven't decided if it's an endowment or what it's going to look like, but we're going to start setting aside monies for scholarships, local art programs, people that can register and access it. So our goal long-term is continue to use the exhibit and the 6 weeks to educate, to get kids in that space, to let them demonstrate their talents and skills. So the music programs on the stage are super important to us. The student exhibits will become more and more important to us. And then after Deck the Chairs, how we help funnel, the resources back to the beach community, primarily the beach community, for our arts programs. It's our goal. And then downtown will have its, new set of parameters as well. So that's a longer, intro than I wanted. I'm going to load up what on both pieces. I'm going to load up for you folks online. This is going to get tricky now. What is our exhibit plan? And share it with you guys. And I'm going to load it up in house. This was put together today, finished today. Are you guys seeing this online? I'm still sharing, I think. That's cool. Yep. I'm gonna close this so you can see it, and I'm gonna put it up over here. So I build out this exhibit plan every year. And you guys will actually get to see the park space and how it looks when you show up and get your chair. We're going to go ahead and start scrolling down here. Now scroll down over here. You want to do that? You want to help at the same time? So I'm going to get Alex over here to help. So that's his pretty face. All right. So we're going to take it to page 3. Okay, let's take it all the way to page 4. Yep, that's it. All right, so you're looking at what is our load in and load out schedule. We're sitting here today, the 15th. This is our workshop date, first workshop. We're going to have 3 more of these, 4 it looks like actually. Yeah, I added an extra one into October. So you guys write notes. If you haven't seen this online, you haven't got that from me, make sure that you grab those dates. So it's essentially the 3rd Tuesday of every month until Deck the Chairs launches. We're going to do these right after our board meeting. So if this is still confusing, you don't feel like you got enough information, weren't able to ask me questions, you should be able to get that done tonight. We're going to stay as long as you guys need. Come back to another workshop. You know, we're going to keep doing this until everyone feels comfortable. But I just wanted you guys to see process so you kind of understood it. November 13th, which is right now, the scheduled receipt of the park space. Like everyone that runs an event in Jack's Beach, we have to permit the park space. We have to, you know, insure the park space. Everything that we do is related to how the city works with us, but Deck the Chairs is responsible for several aspects of this event. So we do insure the event, and we do have the responsibility of maintaining that park space. It's our, I mean, the city's our partner, but it's our park for that particular part of the season. So the 13th you come in, we come in, you guys don't. 14th, 15th, we're moving these props, a lot of big props, the tree, a bunch of other metal pieces. We're bringing all of our cables from the storage site and all of our lights. Everything's getting put over there in the park. And then what I'm setting up right now as your date is the 16th, which is, I believe, a Wednesday. Is that Thursday?
13th is a Monday, so the 16th is a Thursday.
Yeah. So I'm trying to set this up where if you guys, you know, and most often it seems like the sponsors use the weekends more than anything. And we're always trying to get the chairs set and everything placed and ready for you guys. And there's a chance we can have this happen for you on the 15th. And we've had requests for a day earlier to come out in the park and grab hold of your chair or start to decorate, you know, if you need that date. But for now, I've got it on the schedule that we're going to have the 16th through the 21st as your opportunity for decorating on the site. Okay. So all the chairs should be set on the property. I'll show you the map in a moment, and all of our stuff should be ready on site to help you support you. But we'll get to some more of that in just a moment. 21st is when we're testing stuff. And then the 22nd is when we go live. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So do you have some questions online right now from anyone? I'm going to look real quick here. We're at the bottom. Okay. All right. We're going to keep going then. We're going to go to the next page of this exhibit. Oops, I went too far. All right. So I wanted you guys to see the stage. The pavilion stage is our work area. And I've shared this with a couple of you on the phone. Even if your pre-build doesn't go well, or you decided that what you can do is probably use the days we've allotted to get decorating done. Like instead of trying to get everything done ahead of time, you just say, okay, here's our design. We're going to talk about design and turning in designs in a moment. But let's say you figured out what you want to do and you know you can utilize 2 days in the park to build your chair out, right? We will provide you, once you load in, and that load in, if you guys kind of know the format, some of you don't, but we have a stage that essentially faces south. So this is right by the ocean. Loading Bay East stage over there, that's the boardwalk, Jacksonville Beach Boardwalk on that side. This is First Street, what we call First Street on this side. So it's facing south out into the park, right? So a lot of times everyone shows up and they park their vehicles around the park area and they come in and they sign in the volunteer load-in space there. I mean, not volunteer, but the load-in area is where we capture names and make sure everyone is signed in and we know who's in the park. That's kind of a request that we have, and we usually have about 250 of you guys out there, you know, during the course of 6 days. So knowing who's in the park, you've signed in, you've signed a waiver. It's essentially a waiver as well. Protects us if someone, you know, doesn't know how to use a hammer and they decide to use a hammer the wrong way. You know, you're essentially a volunteer in this park space doing your thing. We can't take all the responsibility for how you use a hammer. Okay. So part of it is a waiver, a release for us. Then you have your backstage area. It's storage for us. You have components, west wing and east wing, all that stage is open. So a lot of times what we're doing is we're getting our cables, our power cords, getting all of our lights and doing everything pre-planning for the site itself, okay? And a lot of that work takes us a couple days so that when kids are showing up and we're ready to go with them, and the adults that are volunteers are showing up, they're ready to go, we're essentially, we've got a plan and we're telling these volunteers what to do on the site to help get Deck the Chairs up and rolling. And then you guys simultaneously are coming in and saying, I'm, you know, so-and-so sponsor, where's my chair? You'll kind of know where it is because you'll have a map, but we'll bring you out to it. You'll have electricity. You're going to have the chair set, the cord set, and should be ready to start build and decorate right away. So this is our workspace. There's tools, paint, there's locked storage areas. There's bathrooms. You'll find from 7 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon, someone's always going to be there. Some Deck the Chairs volunteers, Deck the Chairs, you know, committee leads, Deck the Chairs contractors. Every day during that whole process of build, there's someone out in that park that can help you guys out. Okay. So this part of it I know is like confusing until you see it and do it. But once you see it and do it, it's like, it's a no-brainer. Everyone gets it. All right. So we're going to keep moving. The next page is the map, I think, right? So again, this is updated today. We had one small change yesterday and I've updated that. So everyone look at this map, see if it corresponds to what your agreement looked like. And where I put you. And if you see you're not in the space that you thought you're supposed to be in, you got to let me know now. Okay. How are we looking online? Any questions? Any questions here?
No.
Cool. Moving forward, we're going to go to the next page. These are our props. We won't stay here too long, but we obviously, I mentioned this earlier. There's a lot of props we're responsible for. This particular page places those out on site. It shows you, you know, your chairs again. It actually has these black dots on that map. That's our electrical, those are called bollards. That's where all the power outlets are. So everyone has a power outlet that, you know, again, corresponds to their chair. And we get that all set up for you. So when you get there, you should not be sweating power. All right. Let's go again. You can do anything you want during the, are you talking about your chair have music throughout the run of show? Of course, yeah. Just know we've had that in the past and we are running music as well, right? So Deck the Chairs tree will finally, for 2 years, 3 years, we didn't do this, but we're going to get back to it. We're going to have some speakers hung in the palm trees in Latham across the, you got the pavilion, Seawalk Pavilion with the tree itself. And we run speaker line across, high up in the trees, across the street and into the palm trees, like I think 4 sets of speakers down Latham Plaza. So sometimes those will take away from music that's at a chair, and we've moved some people around because of that, because they wanted their music to not get drowned out by our holiday music. So that's the only thing that may happen with the park space is we're going to try our best to get better sound throughout the space. Okay. Say it again. Everyone gets signage. Everyone gets signage. Yes. Well, so I'm being asked about some signage. I just can tell you that if we go back, well, maybe go, no, I think we go forward. We're going to go forward a little bit. I'm going to show you guys what you get. Okay, this is student exhibit. We're going to pass on this. Pass on this. Okay, so here's a sample of some of the signage that gets put around the park. This is last year's signage. I haven't updated it with the graphics for this year. But you have large pavilion signage that is for the primarily our main sponsors in that part of the park. And then there's a panel sign. Typically just have one. We put 2 out there before that are part of what we call wayfinding signs. And those list all of our sponsors. And then every sponsor has in front of their chair, that smaller spot, we call it a sponsor bandit. It's like 32 inches by 24 inches. And those are on a rack system. I don't think I have a picture of the rack system, but there's barricade fencing all throughout the park. And then on the barricade fencing, strategically placed is a sign right by your chair that has the logo featured. So people are, it's clear who is in that spot, in that space. And then we wrap those barricade fencing and the signs with lights. So that's about it on signage. Now, we'll talk about this with your chairs as you get closer to design and build and what you want to do. A lot of people like to throw logos and art up on chairs, and some of that looks tacky and some of it doesn't really, it works almost against you when it comes to marketing. We're really I'm of the mind that doing something tasteful, letting us do the let the sign that's in front of the chair be the predominant kind of message, logo message, then use the chair for education. Like use the chair to tell your story, use it to share information, but don't put logos all over the chair. It just never seems to work that well. Beaches Go Holiday. Yeah, Beaches Go Green was one of the first ones to show me how to do it. And I never hold back telling this story because I think it's an important story. When they brought out all of their signs, what they really it turned out to be was educational signs. So they put a little Beaches Go Green logo at the bottom corner of the sign, but essentially the dominant signage was a message that said, yeah, these are things that you need to pay attention to. This is a sustainability issue, or this is a repurpose issue, or this is what happens with, waste, what happens to the ocean. When you walk through their space, which was big space, you'd learn something. So if you're educating the audience, then I think it's great. If you're just putting logos up there and going, look at us, we're XYZ realty company, I don't think it's helping a whole lot.
Good question.
Yes. So I've got a correct logo coming from UF Autism. Very good. Thank you, UF. Yeah, I'm going to get to those. Yeah, in fact, that's the fun part of this. I want you guys to see what I think are some pretty cool chairs. So, after we get through this document, we're gonna get to that. Let's see what else we got. These are like last year, but I'm gonna move through these kind of quick. I've got some favorites. Last year, we had some great chairs again, no doubt. Is that all of it? Okay, that's the electrical system. I don't know why mine's not being paid. All right, here we go. Let's see what else I can show these guys. Those are palm trees that have lights. These are some chairs. Yeah, so we'll skip that. I'm going to show them a document. So we're going to close the exhibit document. Everyone has access to this exhibit document. What I use it for, the final thing I use it for is your drawings, your designs. You're going to submit, especially the folks that are new. You're going to be submitting your designs so that we can talk about them. And that's based on that document you received. If you didn't get it, you can get it tonight. You can get it this coming week. There's a document that's the do's and don'ts. We put it in our email blast, the MailChimp blast. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. But it shows the layouts of the chair. It's a grid system. Yeah, it's on the front page. It should say do's and don'ts. I got one. Decorating do's and don'ts. Yeah.
I don't see it on here.
Yeah, it's decorating do's. So 2023 decorating do's and don'ts. BTC decorating do's. Going up. It's definitely
It's
there.
on the desktop.
I know. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Okay. So we're going to go through this real quick. All right. So I'm just going to ask the question online and here in the room. Anyone seen this document? Raise your hand if you've seen it. If you've never seen it, you've seen it. You've seen it. All right. So good. We're going to go through this then. Do's and don'ts is a document that's existed for like 6 years, 7 years. It's really helpful. I set it up in a way where you can kind of get just some basics from us. Don't hold back on good ideas. Enlist the help of artist friends, craftsmen, people that love doing this kind of thing. Bring people like that in, bring kids, artistic talent's always useful when you're trying to work out some chair concept, chair decorating. We're going to look at past exhibits in a moment, past chairs that I think are pretty well done. Don't show up without a plan. Don't show up without the resources, the people, and use these meetings to really be comfortable, confident about what you're going to build, because there are some things that'll frustrate the heck out of you if you do it the wrong way. I mean, I've watched people that, and I've shared it with a couple of you, they love deck the chairs. They've seen it before. They want to do deck the chairs. And then they're 3 days into this build thing and it's way overdone. They went too far down this rabbit hole and they're building something way too extreme. It's not going to work. It's got too many light things attached to it, too much electricity power that's getting pulled into it. So by the time they turn the darn thing on and they've spent, 4 days building it, it's like, oh, it works. And then, that night rain comes and pops, the first breaker, pops. And then it's like, how do we get it turned back on? Dude, it's really wet. And most of these things like neon signs and bubble machines and all these things that you thought were really cool. They're stressing the electrical right now. So your chair, we're gonna have to put it aside and let everything dry out and get perfect again. Now this one over here that's got pretty good build, really good concept, has some nice messaging and has LED lights only. It's staying on the whole time. I wonder why. Well, it's really basic, beautiful, technically done right. And they learned enough through, maybe they were doing it for the last couple of years and they kind of learned all the headache. But there's just a good plan is so important for you guys to be happy, because that's the worst thing, is to watch someone that loves deck the chairs and loves this idea of decorating and being out in that park. And then after a first rain, they're so disappointed, or wind, and they're just disappointed because the lights are out, and we are doing our best to get those lights back on. But we're struggling because the power resources are already, sort of stretched. So you get to learn that through this process with us and prepare, be ready for it. It's the most heartbreaking part about Deck the Chairs is unhappy people. It's the last thing we want as an organization, is people disappointed or unhappy. And it doesn't have to be that way. And you'll find, so I like 6. 6 is my favorite. So you don't stop the work after the install happens. So one of the things that I've learned is, like, I'll get everything done. We were just talking about it in our, our board meeting. We're never really done with Deck the Chairs for 3 more weeks into Deck the Chairs. We are still tweaking and working and making things better. And because Christmas isn't until the 24th, right? So we're opening on November 25th, excuse me, but we take that 25th off. But that day before is big. Like, there are 3 nights that are huge with Deck the Chairs. Thanksgiving, and the opening, like Black Friday, even the night before that eve is getting kind of busier, but that Black Friday is crazy. So it's kind of like, hey, we want to be ready, open, great, let's do our best. Your chair's there, it looks good, but you're kind of studying it and going, God, I think I could do this and that. I go back and do that all the time. Just don't add a bubble machine, or don't add a neon light source or something like that. But just don't be so disappointed if you get to opening night and you're like, oh, I wanted this to happen, because you got 6 weeks in that park. That's the beautiful part about Deck the Chairs. You can make an exquisite chair in another day. You always have time. Okay, that makes sense for people online? We good? Questions?
Nope.
You guys keep them with me?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, we're going to show some, I think I'm following my schedule. Let me see what we got here. Chair decorating highlight. Yep. Here we go. I brought this, and you're going to find it there too. And I think it's called highlights. Give a plan, decorating do's and don'ts. Yep. You got yours. Was it called highlight?
Yep. Best of chair highlight.
Yeah.
Top one.
All right. So I didn't go all the way back through, and you're going to see some pretty extraordinary build. Okay. Take care. A lot of these are like award-winning chairs. And again, I skipped all past that. That was the first part of the do's and don'ts. There is competition. People that love competition are in this thing, like, to win an award, a plaque, and get the recognition. And several of the folks have won multiple years. When K9 for Warriors was doing it with us, I think they won for the 3 years that they had this out there in the park. People just loved it. It's a well-built, over-the-top chair. Like, this is a $10,000 project. So it's not something that most anyone can do. But when it shows up, we're so pleased that someone was willing to make that kind of investment and provide a concept like that. And it's still to this day one of the top 10, I think, that have been in the park. So that's a sample of one that's high end, a lot of money. I'm really showing this for ideas as much as anything as well. This is American Legion, obviously, and an earlier chair. They've revamped it a couple times, but again, every one of these will have a message. Go back. Well, so the K9 for Warriors, beautiful way to present the brand, right? The rescue dogs, and integrate them into a chair. I mean, extraordinary, right? This thing with American Legion, military families, military, like backing and support and love. And so they've just been doing these things with emblems and designs that are patriotic and symbolic, and their team works on it. Like they usually bring 15 people out. 10 to 15 people are always in the park, and they love Deck the Chairs. They love it from the standpoint of team building, working, on some project that they all can be proud of. And then they share nights out there in the park where they'll come out with little plastic army soldier things, little doll, and hand them out and gift them, and kids ask questions and, love picture taking in front of the display. So messaging, but if you look at it, I mean, there's some costs. Someone had to make these emblems and mount them to a substrate. And then the lights, are pretty basic. And that metal figure, that's some energy and money. But, beautifully designed, real simple. It's good statement. Yes, that's a great idea. So it's what we recommend people do. As a matter of fact, the best way to handle Deck the Chairs is spend a little bit of energy, some time, resources this first year, if you're a first year person, and then plan on, hey, we're going to bring this back next year. We may add to it. We may change it up a little. But if you have this thing 3 years in a row, it's people. I'll show you one in a moment. People will look for it. They love when they see the St. Paul's Church, with the little bell and everything. That's their favorite, one of their favorite chairs. They ding the bell, the kids ding the bell. They've got the picture taking. It's set up perfectly for picture taking. So this is cool. And I wanted you to see it because now, even though he kind of logoed it out with one of his partners, that he was doing a giveaway. So the giveaway was something called some kind of thing that plastic surgeons do. So that's not his corporate logo, but it's someone else's corporate logo that looked like a snowflake. So he kind of used it anyways, but the tunnel was exquisite. So I bring that into this meeting just to show a simple device that makes for an extraordinary picture, right? So it's PVC and or hoops and lights, and it's elegant. Now he bought the trees. And again, I've already stated, it's kind of interesting when people are buying stuff and putting it out there because it's store-bought and it's easy to get that done, but it works. So there's some things you just can't replicate or build. And so I think it works beautifully and it's very tasteful. I have to put these in here. Anne-Marie Mocha with Beaches Go Green. I mean, this was extraordinary. It's not a chair, it's a space. It was the Beaches Go Green Jellyfish Park the first year. This is where our student exhibit is now. So we are hoping to build on that student exhibit over the next 3 years and eventually bring some props into that space that look and fit and make that space extraordinary. Right now, it's primarily the kids' chairs that we finished the space with, and we haven't been able to figure out what the rest of the design or the space is going to look like, but eventually we want that space to really be as bold and as pretty as it was when Octopus Garden was in the space. Big expense for her. Yes. So we're insured, all right? And what we tell everyone to do from liability standpoint is you can put don't touch, don't climb, put your signs up. We put signs up, but it's a static exhibit, right? So someone that harms themselves because they pulled on something, you've got, again, we told them not to pull on our electrical cords. We've never had an incident. So, yeah, it's like, yeah. But understand the place is insured. They know what they're insuring, and it's a $3 million, liability thing, whatever that we have with the city of Jax Beach. So, yeah, don't build something that's going to put you in harm's way. In fact, I'm not going to call you out, but First Coast News did a chair exhibit that was really tough for us one year. And it was a pedestal situation with the Olympics. So it was built around the Olympics. It's okay. Listen, we all learned. You weren't there. It's okay. But no, so they worked with, yeah, but that's what happened. So what happened is, it was wonderful. You guys partnered with Ponte Vedra High School, okay? So Ponte Vedra High School, First Coast News partnered together on the chair, which was a fantastic concept. You encouraged the art teacher and the kids to build the chair for you, and it was built around the Olympics. So this is back the head of the Olympics or the year Olympics, 2018. 2018, was that the last Winter Olympics? Yeah. Did they move it off? So it doesn't matter. I know that what took place is this beautiful like pedestal, the Olympic, where you get your gold, silver, and bronze award. They built that with a surf skate dude and so beach kids, like with the heads missing. So there's skater, a surfer, and something else were standing on the pedestal, and you put your head up like above the body, right? The little wood body, and then you pose for the picture. But it's up on a pedestal that's 3 feet off the ground, and it's plywood. It's not that well constructed. So the very first night I'm watching this thing, and kids are leaning out, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're leaning out onto that, and eventually it broke. But it broke when we were watching it. So what I did is I came back in, reinforced everything, and put a railing up. So it's how you look at your chair and what you're doing with it that dictates whether or not you might have a problem. But most of these are like show places where you just stand in front and get a picture, not climb. No one's allowed to climb on the chairs, really, unless it's a bell or something you want them to, pull on a bell string. Well, that's okay. But parents understand it. Most of the people that are in that park get what's going on. And we just, we've been doing this exhibit and knowing that it's going to get engaged by thousands of people. And we try our best to make sure everyone's safe, protected. But there's more stuff happening out there that we can't control. You know what I'm saying? So you got folks that are coming into that park that they're not nice people. So all that stuff we have to contend with. And you're going to contend with the alcohol issue sometimes. You're going to contend with, homeless issues sometimes. You're going to contend with people that aren't taking care of their kids. We've lost children out there in the park. But we have first aid available. We have emergency service related to it. I mean, basically the city and the police and fire know what's going on with Deck the Chairs, and they're there all the time in the park in some manner, in some way, and we have access to them. Yeah, it's a pretty safe place. So we're gonna keep moving. And you can see with these chair designs, I'm sorry about that, guys. Like this is a good example of what a good space looks like. Really well designed. A lot of work went into this. But it's Santa's workshop, right? So you've got like props, and they're all on the ground, and they're all built well, constructed right. And someone's going to pull and grab, but there's not a big chance someone's going to get injured. So, one of my favorites. This is another First Coast. This is before you guys did just to let you know, 3 years we worked together. And this was a fantastic one, maybe even 4. This was done by Andrew Jackson High School in collaboration with First Coast News. And it was our time machine. And at the end of the day, the art teacher and about 5 students really worked hard on this. Extraordinary chair. Really good concept and really well constructed. They got family members involved. It turned out there were 3 generations of this one family that all worked on it. Grandfather, the father and the son that was in school. It was really fun to watch it. The art teacher had a ball, and it was all repurposed materials as well. So good story, really wonderful to watch them build it. This is a good one that's done by Fleet Landing. How beautiful, built tower and a Santa Claus, and I mean, again, picture taking, all picture taking. You create something that's a lot of times step into it, facade, not climb on, not grab, not, yeah. We've had those. They don't work well. First Sisters, another good example. They've won time after time after time. Beautiful build, construct. This is one of the older versions. Builds a little house and builds, the chair out, puts some signage up, puts dogs everywhere. The last couple of years, she's had so much stuff out there. So much. Beautiful though. And this thing never turns off. Well, it was a little struggle last year. There was some work last year, but generally she keeps all of her the lights stay on. This is the one I was telling you about, St. Paul's. We helped store some of this, and they've used it for now 7 years, at least. It's so the chair is tucked into the house, the back of the house. So you're like looking at it going, where's the chair? It's in the back of the house. So it's a facade. Essentially, it's got sides to it. It's got a front. It's got this bell. Everyone loves ringing the bell. The landscaping. It's a piece of work. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. And the school loves doing it. The parents love it. The teachers love it. The kids love it. They've done other kind of outreach with it. That one year they had these, I guess it was real popular to paint rocks, pebbles, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the year everyone was painting rocks and messages on rocks? And the kids all did their own messages on rocks, and they scattered them throughout the park. And it was like this big deal. So you can do some one-offs with this. That's really cool. Have fun with, be creative. That was a real popular one through Pablo Towers. Again, that's a prop, obviously, but the boat, the fishing boat, and some of the other stuff, well built. This was a beautiful one. Atlantic Beach did. Gosh, it was gorgeous. And they had like a couple thousand of these sea turtles. And they used those sea turtles as a giveaway. So they would have them in the sandbox at the base of this slide. And so the moon's in the back, and then this big slide, and these sea turtles are coming down or they're leaving the sandbox. That's what they were doing, and going up towards the moon. That's what it was. And all those sea turtles, little plastic ones, got this, everyone took the little plastic turtles. And, that was a good outreach. Adam at Carly, smaller chair. These are like our student chairs, where it was kind of Game of Thrones, a lot of fun. Put big pipes, metal motorcycle pipes all over the thing. This was one that I kind of always loved because it was the old Jacksonville Beach roller coaster. That's what they mimicked. You wanted the old Jack's Beach roller coaster. They built this whole wooden kind of facade around the chair and had the roller coaster car at the bottom where people could stand behind that and get their pictures taken. Really pretty setup. Wasn't a big fan of that big sign back there, but they got away with it. All right, Octopus Garden again. Let's get through that. This is beautiful. The city of Jack's Beach did this one in 2019. Super nice, well constructed. They asked for 2 chairs, and this was the old Ferris wheel that they were mimicking, Jack's Beach Ferris wheel. And each of the buckets was one of the departments in Jack's Beach. So they asked every one of their departments to figure out what to put in the bucket. And so they engaged all of the beach's departments to help out with the chair. Love this one. This is a little over the top. First Coast Year Gynecology, he would do these dancing, stars and sandals. And he programmed the music. He'd do all the lights. And it was super popular. One chair behind it. He'd add snow. So that's the snow machine, making it all kind of distracting. He's got a snow machine, but it worked. He kept everything running. It mostly worked.
Not their own.
Yeah. Another Fleet Landing one. This was a beach scene. Crazy build. They have been with us Fleet Landing Assisted Living has been with us almost from the beginning. I think really they're one of our 2 or 3 streakers right now, but huge build project. This was the hardest thing to take down. They had us help them. This is Go Tuckin'. So they have these little vehicles that are like golf carts. And so they built their own Go Tuckin' vehicle out there, which was really cool. But man, again, super popular. Everyone wanted their pictures taken in that thing. And it was, yes. Yeah. Well, first of all, you can get several hundred feet of LED light off of one outlet, one plug, right? And so you really are a matter of taking care of it. And then if you need an extra one, there is always an extra one. We have slipped into a second plug. We've seen people add a second one as long as it doesn't stress, the lights. And so you're usually testing your lights as you go. And every night you can test and, the big ones are snow machines, bubble machines, LED, neon lights. But generally, most of your LED lights, you can flood it up with. Yeah. 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 So another one, custom built. This is Moran. It was beautiful. Again, crazy over the top build. I think they spent 3 days just building that. So they got the chair laying sideways, and the this is a ramp. So they build a lot of, I guess, handicap ramps for people, properties, stuff like that. And they wanted to, it was like, we want to put so that's a handicap Santa. Yep, getting pulled up the ramp. Yep. I love this one. This is, again, folks that have small business here at the beach, mini bar, Southern Swells teamed up, and they built this contraption that was extraordinary looking. I mean, such good detail and plastic work, and it's all PVC. It's this contraption. On one side, it's making donuts, and on the other side, it's making beer. Essentially, that's what it looks like it's doing. There's a little push button thing. You can see right at the base of it, this little red button right here and the green button over here. You literally could hit the button and it would light things up and drop a donut, or on the other side, it would, so they had a little bit of intricate work done. Super cool. This is one of our favorite partners. He helps quite a bit now. Angels Construction. These are all, he built these, he constructed all this, and then he put these. He's also military, ex-military, and he wanted a military theme. He's been doing a bunch of construction for us now, helping us with some of our build with our student chairs. This, I just thought it was cute, but a little bit of money, going buying a bunch of flamingos and the little snowman and stuff, laying the chair on its side and packages up like a sled. Here's I put the Blue Jay Listening, and they've used this for the last couple of years to promote, especially 2020. Was that when that all went down? Yeah. So we went through the pandemic strong. I mean, we did our best and helped folks that were in the city. We cut all of our sponsorships back in half and had a lot of nonprofits that year, and did what we could to just activate the community. You can see the mask on we got busier that year than any other year.
Exploded.
Yeah. I love Boys and Girls Club's creativity. They come in usually a rough plan, and it's all wood and crafting. And this was a funky tree that was, beautiful at nighttime. No, Boys and Girls has a guy that loves doing this stuff. This is Pablo Towers. They build this crazy sled thing. Again, chair laying on its side, and it's a rocket sled. UNF, kind of fun. That's their mascot. And this was done by the students that are part of what is their housing group. They've got like 15, 16 different housing groups, people that are nursing, or in this case, it might have been STEM. They won there was a competition, they won it. So we built the chair out there. UNF again, This is what it looks like. Sort of, it goes back a couple years, but still the park essentially looks about like this. There's another one from American Legion. This is a sweet one from Celebration Church. All hand built, hand constructed. I mean, these are talented people. Jack's Beach again. They did a really sweet thing with I don't know who built this, but this was hand constructed. Discovery School. People have used these little things where you stick your head through, get your picture taken. Those are always popular. Holiday Aviation, and that's a plane on the top of a chair with a 30-foot wingspan or something, 20, I don't know, whatever. About 20-foot wingspan. Pretty cool. That's our light show. If you haven't seen it, it's really cool. That's our first year. Second year, we changed the lighting on it. Yep. This is closing in on the final couple of years with Beaches Go Green. We reimagined the space because Octopus Garden was so expensive, and we didn't bring the head back and all the, the material to drape the head. So we just brought the arms back and created this sort of educational walkway pathway. And we lit it up, put some, some stuff out there for from an educational standpoint. But she did a lot of stuff with the schools and school programs. It always works. Another one, just a couple shots. Really pretty, a lot of lights, a lot of illumination, things that multicolors, nice. This is your competition now, Fleet Landing again, and Brassfield Gory. So these two sat side by side last year. I put it in 2021, but I wanted to bring it out. This is last year. Really, again, beautiful construction on a Model T Ford done by the seniors, and then Brassfield happened to do a bulldozer. Designed it, had it planned, and I know they're guys that are professional and get a lot of money for their real work, but just to see it done and built and out there adds to the experience that's Deck the Chairs, makes Deck the Chairs, a really cool place to go to and see all the stories, see all the decorating, and you guys, every one of us can accomplish a good story if we put our mind to it. So that's the showcase of chairs. Yeah, so if you'd like, I will put this, it's a PDF right now that's pretty big. It might be, if you guys are listening, anyone that wants this document, the easiest way for me to send it to you is in its format, the current format, keeping the pictures high enough resolution, and I can do it via WeTransfer, right? So all you have to do is email me and say, I'd like that document that shows all the samples. There's a lot of these pictures are on the website as well. So if you dig around the website, you'll find tons of images from the last 6 years. All right, back to this. So the process, you guys ready? I'll do this 7:15. How far off? Oh, I'm 15 minutes off. So idea development is the first part of the work. Okay. And that just means you go back to the do's and don'ts document. I'm going to bring that back up. And you've got a piece of paper right here in this document that has the profile of a chair and it has the front. And these are rough. You don't use these for exact measurements. It's just, this is roughly a 9-foot tall chair that's 7.5 foot deep. It generally looks like this. Start playing around with your ideas. Submit those ideas in the next couple weeks. You're certainly going to have them done by the next workshop. So as your mind and design process and goals of getting things done, a drawing on a piece of paper from all of the newcomers is what I'm asking for before the next workshop. Okay. So if you haven't printed this document out or kept it and you need that back from me, I can send that to you. It's been delivered a few times, but I can send it again. All right. It's really pretty much just draw and think about what might be, as you're drawing, a way to build it. Don't just draw something and go, or find something online and go, hey, this looks really cool. I want to put it out there in the park. Because one, that means you're probably buying it. That's not necessarily great. Two, some of that stuff doesn't work really well out in our park. So I like for people to think of their ideas, something that fits the store, or fits the brand, who you are, that'll tell your story, and know that it could possibly work somehow, some way in that park space. After looking at all these pictures and hearing me really get nervous about wind and rain. Okay? Yeah. Chair can be tilted over, as Kathy was saying to the group in-house. Let's go to next page or the next part on the worksheet. Yeah. Okay, so new guy question, perfect. We have, no, it's good. I've had that question a lot. He said it. So there are literally 40 lifeguard chairs ready, built, and that are gonna be in that park space. So you're not building, constructing, doing anything with the chair. What you're doing is using this template to sort of get you started on what you're going to add to that chair when you arrive in the park. So you won't get anything from us. You're not allowed. We've delivered a couple chairs in the past. It's really hard to steal away a chair that's 9 feet tall from the beach. These are real lifeguard chairs. Yep, they're 9 feet tall. They're heavy as all get out. You just decorate the heck out of them.
Deck
Yep.
the chair. You have your chair out there, you have
Yeah.
power,
Yeah.
and you'll just decorate.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that and talk more offline, but the cost is, you're going to vary in terms of materials and how this thing goes. It can be, I've seen stuff done for $300 that looks fantastic, all the way up to $3,000 to $5,000 and looks fantastic. I've seen 5,000 spent on a chair, and this is the one that I was mentioning earlier, and it was way too much because at the end of the day, we couldn't keep the chair on, and we couldn't. Oh, we'll talk offline about that too. Yeah, because some of this is based on, I've definitely, after the workshop, we're going to talk about all the things that are the opportunities that we have. Okay. Yeah, question. So will each decorating workshop be the same, or will the future workshops have different information? Your next workshop will be us looking at designs. So that's the primary goal of this first workshop, is get people that are new, kickstarted, people that have done this before, probably aren't sitting in these workshops right now. But yes, the goal would be second workshop. If you haven't done this offline and we haven't talked about it, we have to be looking at your design work by the second workshop. Simple, yet tell us a story, the best for the first time. I do have some specific questions I will ask next workshop once I get the design. That's a good idea. Yeah, 3 months of this work. And I don't think, again, you guys need to be nervous right now about what you want to do. I mean, you should just be thinking about what you want to do, and you should be sketching what you want to do. You should be having conversations with a team about how to execute the thing. But the next workshop is September, right? And we still have October, and we still have into November. So this is going to get more condensed as we get closer. But right now, everyone should just be free to think and come up with ideas and engage us in how to get it done. And if by September, middle of September, everyone's pretty confident and you've thrown your designs at me and we've talked about them, or we're doing it in our second workshop, we will know almost by then exactly what we're supposed to be doing once we get in the park. And you still have another month. You're going to go October, and you're going to have 2 more workshops in October, and then November. I have watched people redesign their entire chair when they've gotten into the park and decided it wasn't going to work the way they thought they were going to do it. And we've talked about it, and I watched one chair get destroyed. This is a couple years ago. It wasn't built well. Their decorations blew off of it, right? And the guy decided, oh, okay, I'm going to come that next morning. I'm going to build this thing. And it was remember the dragon that the folks did in the pink? It was in the pink chair. Someone did a dragon. It was a flimsy looking dragon, and literally got blown away by a windstorm. And so the guy was like, all right, I'm going to build my dragon out of wood. And he had a rough design, and he built this cool dragon that draped the whole back of a chair. And he did it in like 6 hours, 8 hours. He just got lumber, got paint. He went and built this darn thing. Now he had some skills, right? But I watched him work in our little workshop there at the beach, backstage. And he was ready with a better chair the second time around. And it was live that night. And I don't mean to diminish the chair decorating process, but we got a lot of skilled people, right, Rush? Yeah. There's a lot of folks that hang around Deck the Chairs that know what we do and why we do it. And if we run into trouble, dude, we are asking people. Yeah, there's always someone willing to help. There's always someone that'll take on, some challenge, some problem, and fix it in a day or 2 days max. All right, we've almost wrapped up. Let's go back to the agenda. You got any other questions over there? So budget, pre-build versus on-site build. Like I kind of covered that just now. Budgeting, you're just gonna have a sheet, like you're gonna price stuff. You can price wood, you can price plastics. I can tell you right now, anything again that's paper doesn't belong out there. Anything that's flimsy doesn't belong out there. Anything designed that's a big sail, like a big shape, doesn't belong out there. This has got to be something affixed to a chair, stable enough that can endure wind, endure rain. So it's plastics, it's wood that's sturdy, it's construction that's good. And we can help you solve some of those problems as your design starts to move forward. Yeah, and finally, we hold back from anything really stapled, screwed into the chair. So what we use is zip ties. We use a lot of zip ties. We use some clamps. We definitely will screw something in 1-2 items if it's going to be pulled back out and we know it's only 1 or 2, and this is for stability and safety. We'll judge it and make a decision. If that's the only way we go, we'll go that way. We have to dig into the ground. We don't tell the city we're digging into the ground, but we might dig into the ground. Just public safety is number 1 for us. Okay. Not hot glue guns. No, we use major glue. Like we're going to be cementing, concreting. Yeah. But it's mostly zip ties. Yeah. Zip ties are the deal. They're amazing. Lots of zip ties. Lots and lots of zip ties. And then display management is an easy one. That just means, okay, you built it. Deck the Chairs has your back. We will stay out there and watch this thing all the time. But we love our partners to say, hey, we care enough about this too, that we send someone out or we look online and, hey, will you call Curtis or call someone out there and say, hey, I heard my chair was off the other night. And we'll usually say, well, they probably hit the park during that 2-hour wind, rain, when we had to wait for everything to dry back out, and we got it back on at 8 o'clock. So if they were out there at 6, we're sorry. Thing was off for a little bit. We got it back on at 7 or 8. Okay. Questions, answers. Anyone else with a question or an answer in the room or online? Any restrictions on attaching stuff? So again, no restrictions other than you can't think about it from a screwing standpoint. As you're designing or thinking about building this thing out, if you can attach it with a zip tie, that is the best solution. And there are some strong zip ties out there. I mean, some major strong zip ties out there. So there's ways to drill a hole in something, and wrap and tie and cinch up. Do that all the time. Okay, so we are closing in on end. This was about 15 minutes late. Got one more question. So we can't drill in. So drilling, screwing into the chair, we're not going to drill. We've pulled pieces of the chair apart and we're supposed to put them back on. We've gotten in trouble for that. We've screwed into the chair some, at times, and we will do that again, I'm sure, but we got to pull that stuff back out. We can't really deliver these. We can't deliver these things back to the lifeguards and say, hey, we're sorry, we just screwed up your chair. I mean, these are going back to the lifeguards and they got to sit on the beach and use them again. We've repaired chairs in the past for the lifeguards and we'll continue to do that. We have a good relationship with the lifeguards, but our goal is to make sure that we're trying to deliver back to them 100% of what we got.
Yeah, zip ties work well.
Yeah, zip ties work super good.
Price, lumber.
Can't paint chairs, but again, you can wrap a chair. So people have come really creative ideas with wrapping the chair, different materials. There's a lot of kind of that gold or silver, aluminum kind of stuff you can wrap chairs with. And if a chair's wrapped up in a ton of lights, it disappears at nighttime. You see all the color illuminating from the chair. You don't even see the color of the chair. No, just know, to her point, you don't want the thing crashing down. So it's always stability. And we've, gone upwards at 15 feet in the air. Like our stuff that's the light show is upwards of 15 feet. So we have to put that on platforms and bolt down and secure, and then we cinch it to, it's like uber careful on all the materials and how they're affixed to a chair. Because we've done it now 11 years. So don't want to stress anyone, but it's a good way to help. We can help you plan all that stuff out because we now know it pretty well, right? Okay, guys, that was it. That's the workshop. I'm going to stop recording. And thank you so much. We love the new partners and the old partners. We're going to have a great time. Thank you, guys.